For my thesis, I revised and updated the work done 20 years ago. It's a translation from English and French into Italian of parts of two books, Roman Aqueducts and Water Supply and Le Pont du Gard, l'eau dans la ville antique. There's also an introduction to the subject, translated into English and French, as well as two glossaries and an analysis of the text and related translations. Rome, known in ancient times as Regina Aquarum, has a 1,000-year relationship with water, whose symbols are still visible today. Aqueducts, latrines, baths, fountains, a history with so much to teach in terms of creativity, management and saving. However, none of this would have existed without aqueducts. The growing population urged Rome to look for more and more springs to draw from and to establish a careful water management system. Frontinus, curator aquarum, responsible for managing water at the times of Nerva, in his De Aqueducto defined them the highest manifestation of the greatness of Rome. The aqueducts remain the most tangible evidence of Rome's presence in all the empire's provinces, with extraordinary examples, from Segovia in Spain to the world-famous Pont du Gard in France, built by Emperor Claudius or Neron around 50 AD to supply the city of Nîmes with drinking water. It was named a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1985, is now considered France's most visited ancient monument and one of Europe's most important sites, enough to appear on the €5 banknote. Roman brought aqueducts to the monumentality we all know and to a perfection only equaled by those of modern times. However, some populations built aqueducts even before the Romans. Trevor Hodge, author of the English text, writes extensively about canals, a system of underground canals built in ancient Persia to bring water to a notoriously arid land. Thanks to Arab domination, Palermo is the house of some canal remains. UNESCO aims at their preservation, to repurpose old systems to mitigate the effects of climate change, especially in the world's driest areas. During the 3rd century AD, in the Trajan era, the age with the most remarkable expansion, Rome had a total of 11 aqueducts feeding 11 large baths, hundreds of little bathing establishments, 15 monumental fountains, 2 nomecchie, the famous naval battles, and 3 artificial lakes. One of these aqueducts has always been in use, the Acqua Virgo, feeding today the Trevi Fountain, the Four Rivers Fountain in Piazza Navona, and the Barcaccia Fountain at the Spanish Steps. The Parco degli Acquedotti, east of Rome, hosts the remains of 6 of these aqueducts. Following the downfall of the Roman Empire, the aqueducts fell into disuse. During the Renaissance, though, popes decided to restore them, monumentalizing the terminal point of the aqueduct known as Display Fountain. This decision left us some masterpieces, such as the Trevi's Fountain, the Acqua Virgo Display Fountain, the Fontanone, in Janiculum Hill, the final part of the Acqua Paula, or the Moses Fountain, the end part of the Acqua Felice, built by Pope Sixtus V, reusing parts of the Alexandrian aqueduct, which is still used for irrigation. Many small fountains and nasoni, so named for their shapes, are scattered around Rome and symbolize the strong connection between Rome and the blue gold. Roman technology made the rest. We wouldn't even have the Roman baths without aqueducts, and the other way around, considering Agrippa built the Aqua Iulia precisely to feed his own baths. Therme, meaning hot waters in Greek, was a place for healing both body and soul, a gathering place where everyone shared the same space, where people could talk, read, and relax. Mens sana in corpore sano, had Juvenal said. They consisted of a series of hot, warm, and cold rooms, the Caldarium, Tepidarium, and Frigidarium, but also a Sudatorium and a Laconicum, comparable to today's saunas. Behind all this, there was a sophisticated heating system called the Hypocaust. The baths of Caracalla are the best preserved, but there are also examples in Bath, England. On the other hand, the Diocletian baths are an example of Roman creativity. Having been abandoned after the end of the empire, they were transformed by an 86-year-old Michelangelo into what is now Santa Maria degli Angeli. Fulonic and latrines were two other services that required vast amounts of water. Latrines, the public baths, lacked dividers, so they turned into a social gathering place. Fulonice, on the other hand, is the place where fabrics were washed, and urine was often used for bleaching. Nothing went to waste in ancient Rome. Speaking on waste, a very relevant topic today, we cannot avoid discussing the rainwater collecting system. At the entrance of a Roman noble residence in the atrium, a pool was built, fed with rainwater, whose overflow was connected with cisterns that allowed the water to be kept cool and protected from contamination. Romans perfectly knew water's priceless value. Sometimes all we need to do is look back, learn from history, and head towards the future.